I want to react to the one and only Hillary Banks, and the lady who played her was Karen, right? But she literally inspired me to be the authentic mixed girl that I am. And everyone lied to me and told me she wasn't mixed, but she obviously was. But here you go.
Hey friend, welcome to my channel Kareen Allude, where we talk about everything, and I'm Kareen Allude. If you're not yet part of the friendship circle, please be sure to like, subscribe, and join the friendship circle. If you're already part of the friendship circle, please be sure to turn on your notification bell so you can always know when I post a new upload. Now let's get into this video. I am so excited because today we're talking about Karen Parsons, aka Hillary Banks. Fresh Prince is beloved by Black millennials, not only because of its influence on us, but also what it did for the culture. We connected with the family for 6 seasons. Whether by watching in real time or getting attached through reruns in later years, the fashion on the show played a big part in my personal love for it, particularly the perfected Bel Air style of the one Miss Hillary Banks. The epitome of the word bougie, far before the word got gentrified. She literally was the first icon I saw on TV after coming from Haiti as an immigrant that I wanted to emulate. She was so chic, witty, and feminine, not having an older female presence around as a child.
No, literally, her style is like what cultivated me. Like, I always was like really girly and stuff like that. And I grew up with like a narcissistic mother who hated that about me because she like people like girly girls or whatever, right? And she was the only person that I could look up to who looked like me. And in Mariah Carey, obviously, but like there wasn't too many mixed girls that I seen who like had my style besides her.
Led me to look towards other inspirational women on TV for a little guidance, and she was just one of those. I have a sentimental attachment to Hillary Banks, a nostalgic connection that will forever be ingrained into my head as her character played a pivotal part of my childhood. Parsons was made for this character, and she has no idea how many little girls like me she inspired through her work. Hillary's transformation throughout the show was jaw-dropping. At the start of Fresh Prince, she's something of a shallow, sponging mean girl, but by the finale, Hillary is an absolute feminist icon, and she's inspiring. She learned to be kind and compassionate and gave some of the best big sister advice to Ashley that I took for myself. From becoming completely financially independent to understanding the true value of life, love, and having a fulfilling career, Hillary blooms into a character which every woman can take strength from. Her character arc is proof that there's always an opportunity to turn your life around, reevaluate your priorities, and become a better person. Today's video is an ode to Hillary Banks' style, persona, and impact. We also will briefly look into the life of the actress who was the only one who could fill those shoes, Karen Parsons.
And she's literally so beautiful though. And like I wanna do research of her about like what being mixed, like how that affected her growing up because she's from South Carolina like me, and it's a bit different there. I feel like I am more accepted being mixed there than I am being mixed in Baltimore, but it still is like a big thing. Like they're shocked when they see you.
Now, let's get into Parsons' life first, okay? Because I know we keep calling her Hillary, but I just cannot, you know, those personalities that you just cannot dissect from the actual person because as a child, they just was that pivotal in your life. I just will always see her as Hillary Banks. No matter what role she plays, she will always be Hillary Banks to me. And I know most actresses don't like that. They don't like to be stuck in this one character for the rest of their lives. But they have to understand the impact that they have on the people who grew up watching them and supporting them, and how it's so hard to differentiate the characters. Comment below what characters, it doesn't have to be Hillary, but comment below what characters literally you cannot differentiate from the actress when you see them. Most people know the name Hillary Banks, but not the name of the actress behind the iconic character Karen Parsons, who has a complete identity of her own. She loves music and traveling to Mexico. Her favorite color is blue, and she loves chocolate cake. She also speaks French, German, and Spanish. She's a fairly private person, managing to avoid any controversy throughout the years. A class
She has kept her like record very clean. And I've noticed that a lot of like the mixed kids growing up, like T and Tamara and her, like they even Diana Ross's kids, they like to keep it clean. And I feel like that's a good thing for biracial image. Just keep it clean. Like we don't need to be out here being like every other culture. Be classy, keep it cute.
Act that is skilled in elegantly and gracefully responding to nosy interview questions and maintaining an air of mystery. Parsons was born in Los Angeles, California on October 8, 1966, and in an interview for Essence in 2008, she describes her percentage as biracial. Her mother, Louise Parsons, is African American from Charleston, South Carolina, and her father, Kenneth B. Parsons, is British American of English and Welsh descent and from Butte, Montana. She attended Santa Monica High School. However, many did not know that Parsons' character was a far cry from her experiences in real life. The actress has revealed how she grew up as the only child in a biracial family. There was no dad, I need $300 moment in Parsons' childhood. While Parsons technically grew up less than 8 miles from ritzy Bel Air, her modest 1970s and 80s upbringing was a far cry from that of the Banks children. Rather than being waited on
She played this role very well for someone who came from like humble beginnings though.
by live-in British butler, Parsons spent most of her youth moving to various little apartments around then hippie-ish Santa Monica with her mom, a deputy sheriff turned bra and swimsuit model turned librarian, while her father was mostly absent. She said, "We were lower middle class, borderline. We weren't poor. I never went without food or anything like that," she says. "But there was a period when my mom needed food stamps." In a 2017 chat with DJ Vlad, Parsons opened up about her childhood. She revealed her parents were married in 1963 when interracial marriages were not legal in some states. According to her, she grew up in Santa Monica, California, which was sort of a hippie era at that time. Hence, she did not experience anything overt coming her way. She had minor incidents when she was called funny names, and she's been called the N-word before, but there was nothing huge at the time. However, as Parsons got older, she started becoming far more aware that she was biracial. Parsons said she had a close bond with her mom, who taught her how to deal with such prejudices. She described her mom in glowing terms and said she was always in awe of her and proud to call her mom.
See, I like that her mom taught her how to deal with it because some of us had like bad moms or whatever who like either were jealous like of us or like other people of color or vice versa, you know, it could be a mom who's jealous of white people. Like my mom was insanely jealous of like mixed women specifically and black women because again, my dad's type is black women and she hated me. So she didn't care that black people were like mean to me or if white people were mean to me. She would like say something to white people because she wanted to impress her then husband. So I'm glad that like some moms really did stand up for their kids because I'm seeing a lot where mixed kids are saying, "Oh, my mom didn't do anything," and that's my experience where my mom would like laugh it off because she wanted me to feel pain, which is like a whole nother story. But
The actress revealed she tried to emulate and follow the lead of her mother, who was graceful in all she did, rarely talked about race, and handled people as individuals and situations individually. Parsons' relationship with her mom differed from what she had with
that's really good because like sometimes it can get hard. I feel like I used to do that more, but like as I've gotten like older, like into my 20s, I've um I've kind of just gotten tired of dealing with the same stuff from the same people on either side. And it's like, I'm just like, whatever. Like, I'll deal with you individually, but the second you give me an inkling that you're like anti mixed or racist, I'm done. Bye. And there's no second chances for that. I don't care how much you've grown. Grow over there. Don't grow over here.
her dad. She revealed she was always trying to challenge her father because of his views and some of the things he used to say that she found offensive. Parsons explained her father would sometimes say things that did not sit right with her and would not even realize he was doing it. She said such things are easier to handle as an adult. However, being a biracial teenager with a white father who would say certain hurtful things made her go crazy. She further
See, my mom and dad both do this, where it's like they literally would go to war because my dad is very pro black. I've probably mentioned that before. Like he's like Black Panther black, Malcolm X black. Like is extremely pro-black, and my mom is like, she's like, she flip-flops between, she wants to like emulate black people and like be one of those ratchet bangs, or she wants to pretend like she's above it. And she does make a lot of racist remarks. Like she called my little sister a coon, and I'm just like, you have no right to say that. Like you're white, stop. And like my dad, it was like, oh, y'all are black because I'm black, and then I'm like, no, we're not. And your family doesn't see us as black. Like his family let me know that I was white, and that they didn't approve that. They literally post about it, like how they do not approve of mixing of the races, and that mixed kids should not exist. And that's why I do not talk to them, because for you to say that having mixed like cousins or nieces and nephews is disgusting. And when I say something, like they won't respond because they know. But it's funny to me, the main one saying stuff like that be the main one sleeping with white women and white men. So it is what it is. And just like on the white side, the main people who have an issue with race mixing sleep with that race. It's disgusting, but you can't change people.
Explained that her mother was used to her dad and handled him well. Eventually, she learned to follow her mom's lead with how she handled things gracefully. Parsons also discussed her parents' mixed experiences as a biracial couple. She said her mom and dad had different memories of how things went down. Her dad always maintained there were no issues. However, her mom revealed her dad was fired at work when it was discovered they were dating. Her mom remembers that their experiences as a biracial couple much more than her dad. Parsons starred as Hilary Banks on the sitcom The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which aired on NBC from 1990 to 1996. She said, I suddenly had a sister, Tatiana Ali. I had a little brother, Alfonso Ribeiro, while Will was like a brother. Even the crew was like family. Everyone embraced each other and cared about each other. Even if it stopped right with the pilot, it would have still been a life-changing experience for me. End quote. Perhaps most crucially for Parsons was the arrival of a new father figure in the form of James Avery, the actor who played Uncle Phil. First off, rest in peace, Uncle Phil.
He was literally everyone's father figure. He was such a good man in that show, to where like he just was like everyone's father figure. I remember this kid, this idiot, telling me, "Oh, you can't like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air because you're white. This is for black people." And I'm like, "You realize that she's mixed, right?" And then he tried to gaslight me and say she wasn't mixed. And I'm like, "Shut up." And I showed him the proof, and then he just ignored me.
He really was that father figure through the TV screen. I loved everything about Uncle Phil, okay? She said, he was so much like dad. He took that role very seriously on camera and off. My dad was not a typical dad, and James was, she says. He was very affectionate and warm and always paid attention to who I was going out with, and if he saw them, he had to shake his finger in their face. He was great, end quote. Avery died in 2013 at age 68 from complications following open heart surgery. But in 1996, after 6 seasons and 148 episodes, NBC canceled Fresh Prince and the close-knit cast went their separate ways.
I've never really understood why they canceled it, but also I don't think I finished the entire thing. Like I just watched it as it came on growing up. So it's like I don't know why they canceled it, but sometimes shows do die out because like they run out of material.
Devastating to suddenly be stripped away from them, says Parsons. Everybody else went home to their families when it was over, and I pretty much went home to my 2 dogs, and that was it. It took time for Parsons' new reality to set in. Virtually her entire adulthood had been spent cloaked in the comforting monotony of studio audiences' laughs and craft services' lunch. Now she found herself in a daze, and it took a run-in with her former junior high friend, Lenny Kravitz, to shake her out of it. I bumped into him not that long after Fresh Prince had been off, and he was the first person who looked at me and said, but how are you really doing? Whether he
That's actually so cute that her like junior high friend was Lenny Kravitz, and like, you know, he's down with mixed people. And I don't know, I just think that's beautiful because a lot of times we don't have access to other people who like know like about mixed race. They're just like looking at it like trying to give you advice, but he like has firsthand experience.
wanted to laser in like that, it hit me, she says. It was the first time I really acknowledged that I wasn't doing that well. I was kind of tap dancing as fast as I could and not paying attention to the fact that it was a struggle. She co-created, co-produced, co-wrote, and co-starred on the Fox sitcom Lush Life in 1996, which was later canceled after 4 episodes. In 2001, she starred in the critically acclaimed but short-lived television series The Job with Dennis Leary. Besides television, Parsons has starred in several films, particularly in comedies such as Late Nights, Major Payne, and The Ladies' Man. Parsons is the founder of the Sweet Blackberry Foundation, which produces animated films and books about unsung black heroes. The first video in the series was about Henry Box Brown, a slave who mailed himself to freedom. When I was pregnant with my daughter, that's when I started really thinking about what are they going to teach her in school, and what am I supposed to teach her? How do I supplement her education as a parent? Parsons says. As I was talking a lot about Black history and stories that you don't hear about, my husband
I remember, I know this is random, but I remember like watching this with like someone I'm not gonna name, and they happen to be black. And I remember like, uh Hillary and this other girl named Ashley, they were so pretty. And you know how when you're a kid, they're like, oh, so which one are you? And obviously I chose her because she looks more like me, even though we don't have the same eyes, but you know what I mean? We both look mixed. And they were like, oh, you only want to be her because she's light skinned. And I'm like, obviously, that's the point. And they're like, oh, no, well, I'm going to be her. And I'm like, whatever, I'll be the other one. And they're like, oh, but you can't be her. Bro, I just want to know what was wrong with people. What was wrong with them? Because even like, I don't know if that was just like a my generation thing, but people would like, say we were watching the Bratz movies, everyone would pick who they were. And when I would pick like Sasha, because she obviously looks more like me, they would get mad and be like, "Oh, you're only picking her because she's mixed or she's light skinned." I'm like, "Yeah, that's the freaking point." But they were picking people who look like them, or they would try to pick like whoever I picked, they would want to pick, and I'm just like, "What is this obsession with like trying to battle mixed people's preferences?" I don't get it, but that's just like a random thought I just had of like even like being a little kid, how people were trying to always challenge me, and I never understood it.
was like, you need to do this, end quote. Parsons has also published 3 books for children, a middle grade novel, How High the Moon, which was loosely inspired by stories of her mother's childhood in the Jim Crow South. Years later, Sweet Blackberry has grown from a passion project into a thriving organization with a series of animated short films available on DVD and Netflix, narrated by the likes of Alfred Woodard, Chris Rock, and Queen Latifah. Parsons also added children's novelists to her extensive resume. Parsons married the young and the restless actor Randy Brooks in 1987. They divorced in 1990. Parsons married director Alexander Rockwell in 2003. Together, they have a daughter, Lana.
No, because they're literally so cute. And why does one little kid, like you could tell she's obviously mixed, but she looks more white, and he looks like a pure little mixed boy. And I just think that that's adorable. You really never know what your kids are gonna look like, especially when you have them with like one side of your monoracial group. Because every mixed woman or mixed man I see who gets with like a white person, their kids all look different. Every single one of them.
And a son, Nico. After Fresh Prince, in the years after Fresh Prince ended, Parsons' name recognition faded in a world still decades away from salivating over very morsels of 90s nostalgia. Not that I expected people to know who I was, but even when I tried to tell casting directors that what I'd done before, they would have no idea, she tells Vice. I started feeling really stupid trying to get them to know what Fresh Prince was and who I was on it. It was embarrassing. I'd feel like a moron, like, oh, it was this show in the 90s. My interests were changing, she says. It became very difficult to do everything, to memorize lines fell apart and have to get someone to last minute watch the kids, to race across town and do all that, and if you got a call back, do it again. I'd find myself dropping the ball a lot. Now, let's go back to Hillary Banks real quick, okay? The evolution of her style. The evolution of her character, Hillary Banks, is iconic. She went from spoiled daddy's girl to successful woman of influence. Hillary got pretty lucky when she managed to score herself a job as a TV weather girl, but lucky or not, she still managed to work hard and progress within her career enough to get her own talk show by the 6th and final season. After a woman gave birth on her show, Hillary holds the baby in her arms and feels overjoyed, deciding that she wants this for herself. Though she eventually decides against the idea, the very concept that the once self-centered Hillary could foresee herself taking care of a child is a bit of a big stretch from the character we know.
to be honest though, is it a bad thing to like be self-censored? Because I feel like society shames people for being self-censored, but I feel like I like it when people are like super into themselves. Like it's good to see. I'd rather that than you be a hater and be mad at everybody else who looks good. I really rather you just be self-centered. Like don't put other people down, obviously, but like just love yourself.
In the pilot. Let's face it, the only topic of advice that Hillary would have been an expert on in the early seasons of Fresh Prince would have been Prada or Armani. However, by the final season of the show, Hillary is capable of dishing out some truly empowering and incredibly useful advice to her younger sister Ashley about when the right time to have intercourse is. It's also possibly one of the first times the character made me tear up a little, so there's also that. Gone were the days of Hillary trying to go grocery shopping in her parents' fridge. Hillary got herself a career, got her own place, got her own life, and yes, even started to get her own groceries. She became totally independent and rightfully proud of it. Now let's get into her style. Hillary was always ridiculously stylish, but by the time she got her own talk show, she'd swap bold skin bearing dresses and truly enormous hats for sleek structured outfits which screamed business. Hillary was less about having
I literally love both styles, and I would still wear them to this day. They're all timeless to me. I would wear either, to be honest.
fun all the time and was clearly all about her career by the end. Even before she was actually a career woman, her everyday outfits were polished enough for any boardroom. Ironically, when Hillary finally did land her first job as a weather reporter, she got hired on the spot because she looked the part. Everything she wore oozed confidence and strength, and she always stayed true to her ultra-polished, color-coordinated aesthetic. Many of the hallmarks of Hillary's personal style included strong
Her hair is literally beautiful, and I feel like all the mixed girls who struggle with like their curly hair or loving embracing their curly hair, I see that a lot on TikTok. They should just watch this show and just look at her and how beautiful she was and how she always typically wore her curly hair.
tailored silhouettes, statement accessories, dramatic color paired with more dramatic colors. Her accessory game was absolutely legendary, and she often chose playful, youthful pieces that balanced the statement-making elements of her style. Hats in particular were her true specialty. She loved decorating them with flowers, ribbons, and other embellishments, and often made a point to color coordinate her beret with the rest of her outfit. What makes Hillary a style icon is less about what she wore and more about how she wore it. Endlessly confident, she once famously describes herself as a beautiful woman trapped in an even more beautiful woman's body. Her makeup was always natural and simple. She accentuated her natural beauty with light powder, gloss, and sometimes a bold red lip. Her hair remained styled in her curly coils and sometimes a mid-length straight bob, especially when she got a job. Her looks are timeless, just like a Fran Drescher or Rachel Green, and she deserves the same recognition and flowers. Here's to my big sister in my head, Hillary Banks, a 90s icon who will always get her flowers with me. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please be sure to
I don't know if any other mixed girls or guys felt like this, but I feel like again I was living in Baltimore, but I stopped wanting to dress up because I was constantly being harassed by men and by women actually. But like I was constantly being harassed to the point where like I started to cover up completely. Yeah, I didn't want to get dressed up because like people were just boldly disrespectful with how they would harass me, and like it just made me feel very uncomfortable in my own skin. And I don't know. I feel like a lot of people talk about that on TikTok maybe more than here. But I would love to hear other people's experiences of like how did it affect you? You know, I remember watching EU's channel and her talking about guys pulling down her like her dress skirt. And I'm like, dude, like stuff like that's happened to me. And I it's a shame that we've all experienced this and like they're not taking accountability. And the one thing I really want to come from this space is that us to get laws to protect us. Just like AAPI laws, they got them quick. We can get them quick too if we all come together because it's ridiculous.
turn on your notifications and comment, like, and share this video, and also comment below what other style icon on TV would you guys like me to do. I did do one for Fran Drescher. I do want to do one
But all in all, she's beautiful. And if you are ever struggling with your confidence, just go watch her on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. It will literally boost you up as like a mixed girl because we have a very unique experience, and she has curls and we have curls, and maybe she can give you ideas of how to style it. But yeah, that's all I have to say. I would still love to hear y'all experiences of like how were you comfortable in your skin because of like all the attention you got, good and bad, people touching us like we're pets or whatever. I would love to hear y'all experience.